So, where were you born and when?
I was born in Lithuania, a little town called Keidan.
Is it on the coast or is it inland?
No, inland. And in 1915, March 15, I guess it was still going on, World War I. And Germany occupied Lithuania at that time. And there were going on fights between the Russian communists and Poles and Lithuanians. Each of them would like to grab to occupy Lithuania.
What do you remember about Lithuania as a child?
Well, there's a lot of memories. I grew up there. Well, the society at large was, at that time, Lithuanians were 99, maybe 0.9% peasant. Food was everything. They had food more than they needed. It used to be exported. People were more, I would say, they would accept whatever was told. They would accept it. They wouldn't participate too much in all these discussions they took care between the parties. And when they were going to vote, so they voted for whoever they felt like.
Religion were most people?
The Catholics.
Was there
Catholics.
Persecution of Jews at that time? What was it like growing up?
Well, the anti-Semitism I would consider was two kinds. It was on a religious basis because of the Jews were considered they killed Christ, and that was they were hated and were persecuted because of that. On the second one, when the more and more Lithuania got economically stronger, and the Jews participated in this economic, development. So they were hated at that time. Because they got more into economically in their way for the Lithuanians.
There were events going on in the 30s around you in Germany and Russia, Hitler and Stalin. The coming of Nazism and Hitler.
Yeah. Oh, sure. Right in the papers. Well, it didn't take. In the beginning, they didn't take them too serious. No, but as I said before, people did not believe that can happen. Such a tremendous, outburst against them. They still considered Germans culture, nation who gave Silber and Goethe and all these big philosophers, and they considered them it's impossible that they should do whatever happened. The Jewish newspapers put up at that time a boycott to boycott German goods, which infuriated very much Hitler because of they call it worldwide Jewry is now boycotting Germany. They want to destroy them economically. That was a good propaganda tool for him against the Jews. And among the Lithuanians were those who sympathized very much with Hitler, and those, like I said, it was the populist government organization who were against him. Social Democrats who were against him.
To those Lithuanians who sympathized with Hitler.
They said from a lot of it was because of anti-Semitic tendencies that they had, because they felt that the Jews had no place in the Lithuanian economy. In fact, that strengthened a lot the Jewish feelings, Zionism. but their place is not in Lithuania, and there was a big Zionistic movement in Lithuania to go to Palestine at that time. Stalin was not, and the communists, they knew that what's going on in the newspapers were written, all this terroristic, this government that is existing there, and they didn't have too many sympathizers.
Most people aware of the famines in Ukraine and the.
Sure, of course.
Were they aware of the purges and the gulag?
Yeah.
What did people think in Lithuania, including yourself, think of the big democracies, Britain, France, the United States?
What did Lithuanians think about? Well, a lot of people believed that the United States will come and will not let the totalitarian countries to take over. Constant talk, but no action. They will not. It's not. They didn't even prepare themselves for this fight, for any attack against their country.
So you think Britain and France and America really sort of let down?
Yeah. France had at that time was two kinds of reaction. It was the reaction of people who thought that the Germans are, if there is two wrongs, at least this is the less bad things that could happen to them. And the other kind of people who thought that this better Stalin than Hitler. It was already very not peaceful coexistence between the Russians but they saw the handwriting on the wall that they will be conquered by either force. Nobody knew which one is going to conquer at that time. I was studying at that time. I was jittery about that to finish my studies and to get my diploma, because I graduated the medical school in 1939, and then I took my state board exams. State board exams lasted for a whole year usually, because you have to take over all the same subjects. So I got my diploma in 1940, and exactly a month before the Russians marched in.
What did you do during the war?
So, I was taken to Siberia. Not only me, it was thousands of people. And but it was very bad. So bad in this respect, that was starvation. Unbelievable starvation. It used to give you 800 grams bread if you work, heavy physical working, 800 grams of bread. No sugar, no butter. Once in a while, soup. The soup was supposed to be the meat, but you can never even find any piece of meat. And it was, at that time I was young, and I had a good appetite. It was terrible. It was real terrible. And in 1943, there came was Stalin's this order that all the doctors and engineers have to go to the army. And it was taken into the army. First I worked in the hospital. You see, during the war, Stalin was, as I said, he was very shrewd. He didn't, the political indoctrinations was, as a matter of fact, almost stopped. he knew that the Russian people don't like this, but he had to keep them in line. So it used to be emphasized more the Russian national interest. You are going to defend Mother Russia. They don't even say that time they're going to defend Soviet something communist. That was not even mentioned. And before, when I joined the army, they even changed the uniform. Before was a uniform without epaulets.
There was no rank.
No rank. It was everybody, so comrade officer, and in 1940 the whole thing changed, and in the eyes of the Russian soldier, simple soldier, he saw like going back to the old Tsarist time, because uniform was a Tsarist uniform, the same uniform that the Tsar soldiers used to wear. So, and as a matter of fact, many times I used to hear them talking, the soldiers, and they used to say, well, now it's going to be different. It's not going to be the same. They're afraid to say exactly what they mean, but everybody understood what it means. It will not be the same as it was before.
What did Russians know about the war? I mean, did they know about? What did they hear about the Americans, the British, the French, the Pacific?
Very little was known. Very little was taught. All the time, the only thing was they used to complain why they don't open the second front. Why the second front is not open? They used to have a joke. They say, well, because the Allied armies did not put down the last soldier's button on the last soldier. They're still putting on the uniform of the last button, and when they will finish with this last button on the last soldier, then they will open the service.
So there's a very negative view of the British, French, Americans.
Yeah, well, actually, they couldn't be openly negative, but they were like worried about it. They were worried. They didn't, because they couldn't say anything bad. They got the Lend-Lease. Without this Lend-Lease, they wouldn't be able even to do any attack against the Germans. Because the Lend-Lease, I know in our hospital, we didn't have anything. We didn't have to eat. We didn't have even uniforms. I got the uniform when I was in Poland, where it was written on the uniform, what material for sewing the uniform was written there from a gift from the grateful American people to the heroic Russian people. Everything was from the United States. Don't forget, the Germans destroyed the whole economy completely. They say they pulled a lot to the Siberia, but how much can you evacuate? Most of it was destroyed. They evacuated a lot of these machines and so on, but without the jeeps what they got, without this, they couldn't, they wouldn't have survived. They maybe would have survived because another maybe 20 million people.
Were you aware of the Holocaust going on in Germany during the war?
Oh yeah. Well, we liberated in Poland towns in Poland where was ghettos, concentration camp where we liberated, and we saw what was going on there.
Did you know before you liberated these towns what was going on?
No. I assumed that they are doing this. Because as soon we liberated the first in White Russia, the towns where thousands of Jews who lived there before, and they saw everything annihilated. So I knew what was going on. The population, they told us what was going on, and to show the places where the ghettos were. The ones I had, that's true. There was at night, and we were getting patients from the train, and transfer from the train. The train was near our hospital. The hospital was in a school. The schools were built originally to be transformed in time of war into hospitals. So they got into the school, to this, and one of the officers just looks up at me. Oh, he said, how come a kike here on the front? He said, I thought they were all in Tashkent. Tashkent is Uzbekistan. And a lot of Jews, really, there is a certain amount of truth in this, what he said. A lot of Jews were afraid that the Germans are going now to conquer all Russia. So they wanted to go as far as possible towards, this, maybe even to go after that to China, wherever they can escape from the Germans. So a lot of Jews were running away, and it was a big panic among the Jewish population even in Moscow.
The Russian soldier is very resistant to deprivation.
I don't know how it's now. I think the whole thing changed. But at that time, the Russian soldier would have a piece of bread, as I said, a couple of potatoes, and he used to survive in very adverse conditions. Cold, starvation did affect more the German soldiers than the Russians.
How did the Germans you talked to view the whole campaign with a lot of bitterness?
Yeah, I had in Munich. I had my landlord. I rented a room in his house. He was a major, former major. As a matter of fact, we were on the same front. It turned out when we started talking to him, he was in White Russia, in a certain town, Brest-Litovsk, and I was there too. Of course, from the other side, and we were talking. I was talking to this German was in 1949. When I was I went over from the Russian, defected from the Russian to the American side, and I said, well, about the war, he says, nie wieder mit dem Dreck. No, never again with this crap about the war.
What did you do after the war?
Well, after the war, when I defected to the American side.
When?
In 1947.
What reason?
Oh, reason? Very good reason. The reason is I wanted my freedom. And
were you still in the army at that time?
In the Russian army, yeah. I took off my uniform. I just put on civilian clothes. Berlin was at that time, it was easy to do it because it was divided into sectors. American sector, Russian sector, French and English. So I just took the U-Bahn, the underground train, and went over to the other side. Then I had a friend who was a Jewish chaplain in the American Army, whose parents come from Lithuania. And when I talked to him in Hebrew and told him my past, of course he says, bit left to help me.
How did you meet him?
At the Passover Seder
So there was some...
on the American side.
I see. So there was some intermingling.
Oh yeah, we used to go to the American side. There used to be boxing matches there. We to watch from the Americans used to come to the opera was on the Russian sector.
Were you aware of the worsening relations between the United States and Russia, the Cold War?
Yes, I did. As a matter of fact, it was very interesting. You could watch it every day. They used to come, and we used to have once a week, used to be, I think, on a Thursday morning, a whole day political indoctrination. I told you, during the war, there was no political indoctrination. But as soon the war ended, they started to back to the old ways of life. So during the political indoctrinations, there used to be like after they used to talk, the commissars, the political leaders, they used to question and answer. So somebody, an officer said, "How long are we going to stay in Germany?" He says, "Well, maybe we'll stay maybe a month, maybe half a year, maybe a year, or maybe even forever." That was when he talks from what the Kremlin tells him to talk. It was a crime to let yourself photograph. If an American tries to take a photograph of you and they find it, the secret police, you are going to go to jail for this, that you let yourself. For them, even my uniform was considered a big secret. Everything was secret like that. I didn't want to go back to the totalitarian government. I was praying to God to come, and I was so glad. I was thanking God that I came to Berlin.
How did you manage to get to Berlin?
With the army.
Your unit went to Berlin?
Yeah, because our unit came.
You managed to defect.
The defection was, as a matter of fact, almost easy, because
when you came to America, how was your adjustment? Did you find it difficult to adjust to America?
No. I just had to study a lot. Studying for my boards, to take my boards in this. That's also happened. I came here and I wanted to take the boards state boards in New York. At that time was the McCarthy era. In the McCarthy, if you're anti-communist, you're no good either. Whatever it is, just the word communist is no good. So you cannot. If you come from behind the Iron Curtain, you have a diploma from behind the... But I told him, I was before the Board of Regents, and I told him, listen, you can see my diploma was gotten before the Russians took over Lithuania. I was not behind the Iron Curtain. At that time it was Lithuania independent, and you don't question this. He said, no, Lithuania now is under the Russians, and that's why you cannot take the boards.
They wouldn't let you take the boards?
No, not in New York. So I took in Ohio.
When did you get your citizenship?
5 years after I arrived.
Let's still go chronologically. What do you think of U.S. policy towards Russia during the 50s and 60s, 70s?
50s, 60s, with this Khrushchev and all the...
Yeah.
Well, Russia was changing. It looked like it wasn't the same as Stalin's time, with Khrushchev, with all this. But it was still a very strict totalitarian country. And there's no two ways about it. You have to be blind not to see. You have to be blind not to see that they have no freedom whatsoever. No, now it comes out, the whole truth. It comes from Gorbachev, but he didn't divulge anything new. What we knew already for a long, long time, that they are repressing, and if when Reagan said that is an evil empire, it's all right. You cannot say what is black, that is white. It is true. Maybe it is not diplomatic to say. It wasn't diplomatic from his side to say, being a president, but he said the truth.
How do you think the United States should deal with Russia, deal with Gorbachev?
The United States should do like this. They should everything but watch them with suspicion, but don't show. Be diplomatic and don't show this to them. The whole trouble is American diplomats are very naive people, and diplomacy that is diplomacy in this respect, the Russians are much more refined. So you have to be suspicious, but don't show it, and just to watch them carefully. And send people who are specialists, who know what they are doing, and who are well versed with the situation there, with the culture, and who know the language well. It's not like we said, the American diplomats who doesn't know even the language. It's a waste of money. A waste of money. And it will not accomplish anything. And will make even very wrong conclusions, what he sees there.